What is something you will not buy the cheap version of? Story 1, safety equipment of any kind. Work boots, motorcycle gear, crash helmets, work gloves, safety glasses. These things could and often do save your life or prevent life-altering injuries. Pay the extra and save your own self. Answer, that's one of the better outcomes. In Texas, there is no law requiring a helmet, and I see dudes going down the freeway at full speed with no helmet on, a t-shirt and shorts. Normally, dudes on sport bikes at least have helmets, but the guys on Harleys are always helmetless with a t-shirt flapping in the wind and jeans. Rarely do I ever see one in a full kit. Story 2, mattress. Answer, when we bought our new house, the first thing we did was upsize to a king bed and bought an expensive but incredible mattress. We sleep so well now. It's incredible the difference a good mattress can make. We went high-end. No regrets. Answer, oddly enough, I bought one of those mattresses that come in a box for like $250 as a placeholder, while I looked for a permanent one after I moved. It shocked me with how comfortable it was. Literally every person who has slept in my bed has said the same thing. I don't tell them I ordered it through Walmart. Story 3, toilet paper. Because nobody deserves cheap, scratchy toilet paper. Splurge on the good stuff, your booty will thank you. Answer, Charmin Ultra Strong or Ultra Soft FTW. My friend has terrible plumbing in her house. The main sewer line has been infiltrated by roots, and rather than spend thousands of dollars to get it fixed, she is old with a number of medical conditions and doesn't believe it's worth doing, as she doesn't think she'll be around that long. She gets it rooted every 6 months for $300. In the meantime, she only uses Scott single-ply paper. She says anything with more ply clogs the line. Her house is a terrible place if you have to take a dump in that regard. Story 4. No cheap bras. Once you have big enough tits that the bra actually matters, you don't want to buy a bunch of shitty ones that fall apart, are uncomfortable, or both. You typically get 3 to 5 favorite bras for different situations: gym, strapless, plunge, push-up, shaping, and possibly sleeping. And that's kind of it. And then sexy lingerie is another matter entirely. Don't cheap out on that, and don't wear it under clothes you don't intend to take off soon. All of this will probably be expensive. Story 5, toothbrushes are non-negotiable. Answer, when I started orthodontia treatment 5 years ago, my orthodontist recommended Nimbus toothbrushes if I was going to use a manual toothbrush. They're soft, bristled brushes, but I swear they've got twice the bristles of any other toothbrush I've ever used. A 5-pack on Amazon is about $25, but I haven't gone back to any other manual brush since. They're great. Answer, I've always heard that any electric toothbrush is so much better than a non-electric that it doesn't really matter how fancy you get for most people. A $100 electric is not 5x better than a $20 electric, but they're all 10x better than a non-electric. Story 6, kitchen knives. Cheap ones just don't cut it, literally. A good set of knives makes cooking so much easier and safer. I made the switch to a quality brand and never looked back. Answer, and you only need 3, a chef knife, a paring knife, a serrated knife. Whatever that wooden block with 7 knives and a pair of scissors costs, spend that amount on each of these 3 instead. You'll get your money's worth out of them, and half the ones in that block you'll never use anyway. Answer, this is so true. I have one of those blocks. I paid $100 plus for set. It's decent, I guess, but only use the chef knife and the paring knife. The 6 steak knives get some regular-ish use, and the serrated bread knife also gets used, but the others do not. I often wish I had 2 or 3 chef knives so I didn't have to wash the knife to switch between chopping veggies and slicing meat. Story 7, olives. The difference in quality between a cheap store brand and my favorite brand is a gaping chasm. Plus, I use the olive brine for dirty martinis, so every aspect of the quality is important to me. I'm also the same way with meat. If I bite into a piece of gristle or fat, I will just get viscerally repulsed. Story 8. Shoes, mattress, electric toothbrush are the most important ones. You'll pay a fortune for shoes if you buy cheap ones, and your feet will not be happy. The total cost of ownership for a mattress is so low over the years, and you spend so much time in bed, that cheapening out makes 0 sense. Buy the best mattress. Brushing teeth is so important for your mental health, and it saves you a fortune later in life. Answer, best investments I've made are mattress and whatever the Sonicare is. I had the Oral-B electric one and it just didn't get the back of my front bottom teeth as well as the Sonicare. Teeth feel so glossy and smooth after. Story 9, mac and cheese. Even the expensive stuff is only a few bucks and so much better. Homemade is best, but we jazz up the box stuff with ham or peas or something. Same thing for tuna. The more expensive stuff in the jar is so much better and still not that pricey. Even the $3 can beats the .87 can by miles. $1 a pack hot dogs never go in my cart. If I can't afford Hebrew National or Ballpark all beef, I can live without them. I'm not saying all pre-made frozen food is bad, but it's one area in the store where you get what you pay for. Work boots. You might have to save for those $300 boots, but your feet will surely appreciate it. Story 10 socks. I used to go out of my way to buy novelty socks, the kinds with characters that I liked on them. I no longer do that because they are all crudely made. They're not good. They tear up within a matter of days and they never fit on my very thick calves. This really sucks because I really liked having thighs/knee-high socks. Answer, geez, this one hurts. I've been a novelty sock guy for years, but yeah, they often don't last very long. To me, they're still worth it because they make me happy. And I like the fun designs, as do others. But many that I wear don't last a year. I have to rotate some in and out to attempt to make them last longer. Story 11 meat. I only buy local meat from the farmer's market, raise my own, or, as a last resort, purchase from the local bougie co-op. We only eat meat 1-2 times a week anyway, so it doesn't majorly impact our grocery bill. But I refuse to eat that factory-farmed, cheap, highly processed meat. Just the idea of it turns my stomach. Story 12, macaroni and cheese. I've eaten the cheapest versions growing up. I bought the name brand versions when I started out on my own and realized how much I was abused as a child, LOL. The best phrase I ever heard concerning this topic was, buy once and buy right. Quality matters. Answer, Pastoroni's macaroni isn't bad. I am happy with either Kraft or that. Pastoroni has the better noodles and Kraft the better sauce packet, but they're both perfectly acceptable. Never had any other basic boxed mac and cheese that was even worth the water used to boil it. Story 13, personally Coca-Cola. I have a very precise sense of taste and can tell when something is different. Coca-Cola is the perfect taste for me. Any other cola brand tastes bad to me. I couldn't care less what brand my lemonade, iced tea, or whatever other soft drink is, but my Coca-Cola is sacred. Story 14, wall paint. Crappy wall paint lasts for a few years and gets riddled with dirt and scuffs. Quality wall paint can last for decades without losing any color or sheen. Buy the paint with the highest paint solids count you can. A difference of even 1-2% paint solids can make a world of difference. Quality paint with high paint solids has roughly the consistency of molten chocolate and can be applied with minimal runniness or streaking. Shitty paint with higher water and volatiles content forms drips and streaks readily and generally requires more than 2 coats to actually look decent. Story 15. I know this is trivial, but residential plumbing parts, specifically waste arms, drain extensions, P-traps, and the like, and also toilet fill valves, flaps, and handles. Every generic store brand, Ace Hardware asterisk, is cheap-ass plastic. The nuts never thread properly or tighten up adequately. 100% callback on plumbing projects every time. I loathe when a customer says, I already bought the stuff, just need you to install it. It's always the cheapest shit available on planet Earth. Story 16. Heinz or nothing. Coke or nothing, anything but Pepsi, really, LOL. Shooting supplies, ammo, holsters, extra mags, accessories. Your firearm will perform much better not using corrosive surplus. Life is too short to have a shitty holster, and knockoff mags generally fail IMHO. Crocs, shoes in general, I've had nothing but bad experiences with knockoff brands. Electronics, this is broad, but knockoff AirPods Beats do not sound the same. Goes for basically everything, little and electronic. Story 17, drum kits and cymbals. Upgrading from a cheap entry-level ion drum kit with cheap unlabeled cymbals to a Pearl export with some minor cymbals was an incredible difference in quality of build and sound. An upgrade to inspire a young drummer to keep playing and improving. Story 18. Power supplies for computers had too many cheap ones. Roll into the shop and explode or take out everything in a computer, including some of my hearing in my left ear. Just do yourself a favor and spend more on power supply. There's tons of information out there to help find a good one. Story 19. I made the mistake of saving up and then buying a cheaper model and brand of 3D printer. Damn thing was broken more than it was working, and when it did work, the quality it put out was like a bunch of stringy, vaguely item-shaped piles of crap. So I was out the $100 and some odd and also my sanity from trying to fine-angle that thing. Saved longer and got a CR10 3D printer, and the difference was so good. Story 20. Peanut butter. I don't care how poor and destitute I may be, I would never buy any peanut butter other than Jif. I have tried all the other name brands and I have been at the mercy of being a child in a low-income family. I love peanut butter and I would rather never eat it again than try to choke down whatever generic bullshit they are trying to pass off as peanut butter. Story 21, sausages. The summer before I went to uni, my parents made me buy and cook my own food to get me used to budgeting/meal planning. The first week, I went to Tesco's and bought 100% budget everything to try and get as much for my money as possible. This included technically not pork sausages that I swear were more shredded paper than meat. V quickly learned where to save and where to spend. Story 22. Whenever someone is building their computer for the first time, my advice is always the same. Don't cheap out on the power supply. I get it. You have a tight budget, and you want to devote as much of it as possible to the things that heavily impact performance. But you don't want to save $40 at the risk of a cheap-ass power supply burning out your expensive components during a thunderstorm. Story 23. 1. I don't often see on these questions, cribs and baby car seats. A crib is the only place your baby will spend a lot of time unsupervised. If you buy secondhand, make sure you check on recalls. Car seats. Plastic ages, so car seats have expiration dates. Never use a car seat that is more than 7 years old. There should be an imprint on the base providing the manufacture date, or has been in an accident, even a minor one. Most likely you'll never know the difference, but you will at the worst possible moment, when you're in an accident and it fails to protect your child. Story 24. I've recently gotten to the point where I will make sure I spend the extra money to make sure I'm getting stuff that lasts for years to come. All my shoes are good quality, Red Wing and such. My cookware is all cast iron or stainless steel, and my knives are all good quality steel. I would not be able to do this if I was still making poverty wages. It's a shame that folks who love paycheck to paycheck are forced to buy subpar quality things only to have them wear out in a few months' time and be forced to replace them. Story 25. Parmesan cheese. I grew up eating that sawdust that comes in the green can, but then I married someone from Italy, and now I grate the real stuff, or slice it super thin and drizzle with balsamic vinegar for a snack, and cut the rind into little cubes and put them in soup. Story 26. Toilet paper. I know it's just paper for your shit stains, but there has to be some standard. I'm not saying buy the expensive shit, but you gotta at least buy mids. Otherwise, it's like trying to wipe your ass with a piece of tissue paper from the bakery. Cheap car chargers. Every single one burns out after couple of uses. Some of them were already burned out or defective the first time I went to use them. Story 27. Doritos. No one can get it right other than LA's. I've tried every store brand nacho cheese chip from everywhere. Lance, H-E-B, Safeway, Albertsons, Vons, Harris Teeter, Wegmans, Kroger, Great Value, Sam's Club, Kirkland, Good and Plenty, Giant Eagle, Food Lion, Publix, Market Basket, Walgreens, CVS, Piggly Wiggly, Brookshire Brothers, Buy Low, BJ Wholesale Club, Aldi. Story 28. Dog food. My dog beat congestive heart failure, and the brand of food played a big part in his recovery, but it was not cheap. Unfortunately, I lost him unexpectedly to a bleeding tumor, but we did confirm with x-rays that he had fully reversed the heart enlargement and fluid. He was also on medications for it, but I would keep any dog on the food he was on. Story 29. Meat, taste, texture, nutrients. I'm a big believer in buying the best quality you can reasonably afford, so I'll never be a meat snob. I still buy supermarket meat if it's on sale. But if you can swing it, focusing on meat that you know where it came from is incredible. Story 30. Toilet paper. At infant and junior school, we had that toilet paper that's a bit like super thin tracing paper. At home, Mom bought the really cheap 2-ply that looked like wood chip wallpaper and felt like you were using that too. Every so often, my parents would run out of money, not cigarettes though, never cigarettes, and then we'd have to use whatever newspapers or magazines we had about. Story 31. Pocket knives and sunglasses. My wife teases me about how much I spent on them. My arguments are 1. I want a quality pocket knife that isn't dull after a few uses, and 2, applicable to both. If I spend a lot on them, I will take better care of them, and not lose them just by tossing them somewhere when I'm done using them. When it comes to the sunglasses, I ask her, how much have you spent on sunglasses the last 6 years from losing them, breaking them, etc.? It's more than I spent on the same pair of sunglasses I've had for the last 6 years that are still in excellent condition. Story 32. Wireless service. Gimmick services like Mint and Visible are not worth it, and I'll stay far, far away from large cable conglomerates such as Spectrum Reselling Service. That's great, it's $25 for however many months. The cold reality is that the ultra-vast majority of people cannot just purchase or provide a phone, not a $50 beater, or definitely not a $1,100 iPhone. Furthermore, those networks are subject to deprioritized data or other quirks like no roaming agreements for rural coverage. I'd like a good phone and service that will be available just about everywhere. My point is underscored by the amount of people who still overpay Verizon on a perception Verizon still has the best network. Verizon is notoriously the most expensive carrier, yet the largest. Story 33. Literally anything that I actually want. I will go out of my way to get the price class just above the cheapest. It usually means an increase in quality and durability that more than justifies the price hike. While the cheapest version will usually not do the things I need it to, in a manner acceptable to me, watered down functionality or just a subpar work product, or break down too fast. I find that this principle holds true for almost any type of product I can think of. Story 34. If I have to pull all my teeth out for whatever reason and have to get either implants or dentures, my grandmother and mother have dentures, and the amount of pointless money and time spent to keep getting them adjusted is unfathomable to me. I'd just rather have implants, so it's a one and go, and don't ever have to worry about them again. Story 35. Shoes. Nothing too spenny, but I find platform Crocs and the Run Hike Star trainers from Converse the most comfortable for being in retail and on my feet for up to 9 hours a day. I think my Converses have set me back 100 pounds a time, but I wear them until they literally fall apart and can no longer be trusted to be good support or waterproof. I have incredibly flat feet, to the point where I suction to the floor when I walk on laminate or wood, so having the full cushion between myself and the floor is the best way to stop my feet from aching. I'd worked retail for 18 months and my feet ached after every shift, but when I got the first pair of the platform Converses, the pain in my feet never came back. Same with the platform Crocs. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Be sure to write comments and share your stories.